You've seen how to create standard factories now. However, it's worth mentioning that the actual design pattern, the factory design pattern as given in the so-called Gang of Four book, which is the seminal work on design patterns, and whose 23 design patterns you're taking a look at in this course, is actually somewhat different than the standard way of using factories. The Gang of Four version says that the subclasses should be able to decide at the time of creation what type of factory you want to create. So instead of configuring a factory at the time of construction, in other words, when you construct the factory to give only a certain type of connection, as is the usual way you'll see things in Java, for example, the Gang of Four design pattern, the factory design pattern, says that you should be able to create just a general factory and then set the type of connection created when you actually create it. So the two steps are somewhat different. Instead of configuring the factory at the time of creation with its constructor, you configure it at the time of its creation of connections. Let's take a look and see what that means. For example, you might have an abstract class named Connection Factory. And the Gang of Four way of doing things is not to pass data to the connection factory constructor, but instead to pass the type to the type of connection to create to the create connection method. Okay, so this is the idea, is it lets the subclasses decide on what type of connection will be created rather than letting that be determined when the connection factory is created. So here we have an abstract class called Connection Factory, and we might, for example, create a class named Secure Factory to create secure database connections. This extends the Connection Factory abstract class, and it's going to have a method create connection. It's going to take the type of connection, as you see in this case. So instead of configuring the secure factory in the constructor, we're going to actually let the subclasses decide what kind of connection they want by using the create connection method instead. Okay, so inside the secure factory's create connection method, then we're going to have to check the type argument, and if the type equals Oracle, we're going to return a new secure Oracle connection. If the type equals SQL Server, we're going to create a new SQL Server connection object, return that, and otherwise we're going to return a secure MySQL connection and return that. So you see the main difference here is that the factory was configured at the time of creation of connection objects, not at the time of creation of the factory with its constructor. Alright, so here you have a secure Oracle connection. These are the different types of connections that are returned by the factory's create connection method. The secure Oracle connection just has a method named description, which is going to return the text Oracle secure. The secure SQL Server connection class is going to have a description object description method as well, returns SQL Server secure. And finally, the secure MySQL connection is going to have its description method return MySQL secure. Okay, so let's take a look then let's test this out, see whether or not it's actually going to work, and we'll do that coming up next.